Ice. Wait,
with the
hold on,
same
what,
amount of microplastics as everything else. What?
what is this on? What video are we watching now?
Tim Pool versus Andrew Wilson on the nature of God. I'm excited to see it because I'm also terrified to see it. But I am going to give complete honest thoughts since Andrew Wilson is Orthodox. If he says something that may be theologically incorrect, I'm going to correct it and explain it properly. Or also just kind of like I'm just going to review it in general. It's like 30 minutes, not crazy. So I'm not watching an entire debate. But I'm excited to see this. Is the proto-evangelion of James held as semi-true in historical context? I mean, it's held as a I mean, at least in the Orthodox Church, like we do believe that James like wrote it, but like it's just not considered in the Bible because like it's kind of like an extension to the biblical story, so it doesn't really pertain to the Gospels by itself.
I think you're an atheist.
Okay, well, that makes no sense.
You're making the best. You're making the picture of God.
Showing me some of your videos. So the first one was your conversation with Dave Smith. We've kind of had a prolonged conversation about the existence of rights, him taking more of your perspective, I'm disagreeing, and then we were both kind of interested to see what you would say with this. So
we'll start with what a right is.
Yes, okay, so like I'm totally down to agree with you that a right is an entitlement without duty.
Okay.
And then my perspective would be that the existence of the obligations that we can both exist necessarily creates rights. And we both agree that you have an obligation to not me, I have an obligation to not you have an obligation to wherever you're speaking to me, speak the truth, not lie. I don't.
Like you've already made supposed axioms that I don't agree with. You've already created suppositions that I don't agree with. So where does the obligation that I don't you come from?
Presupposition. Presupposition, by the way.
Theory of supposition. William Babaka.
Do we not agree that God gives an obligation to both of us? No, I didn't say. I said.
Yep. Then.
Wait, you have a...
Bro, I swear, just before I continue this, I just want to say this right now. Isaiah is like the type of friend that you have where like you're talking about something and then like out of nowhere he walks up and he's like, did you guys see the FNAF movie?
Yo, I am not that. All right, I guess, man. I guess, bro.
Did you guys see the new episode of Fallout? That shit was peak.
Yo, dude.
You have a right to not someone?
Didn't the second one?
Well, he said there's an obligation not to.
They're both great.
Yeah, but
where's this obligation to not do a thing?
Oh yeah, I would say Exodus.
Yeah, okay. Like so you're saying you're looking at it through the prism of Christian ethics.
Oh yeah, both of us, like we all come from the same perspective.
I see. So
like all the Christian fundamentals, like we might have minor doctrinal differences, but like I'm totally good to agree with you on all.
The
Christian fundamental presuppositions. So yeah, so I'm not disagreeing on that point. My point being that when God goes and gives you,
he's so done already just with the question.
Me an obligation
you mean
not murder you.
A duty.
Yes, sure. Duties. You have a duty to not murder me. I have a duty to not murder you, and so on, and and similar other things like you to not lie to me to not lie to you. These things, these create rights, just by the instantiation of the obligation or by the duty.
That's okay. If you were to put this in a syllogism, that wouldn't actually make any sense, right?
Duties aren't right,
so
right?
Just because you say, if you say you have a duty, you were given a duty to not or me, that does not then instantiate that you have a right to not be by me. That's where you're making a fundamental mistake. Where does that right come from?
Yeah, so this is where
I have the obligation, but you don't have any right.
They don't have the right to defend themselves.
Don't even have a right to do that.
Well, shit,
you can defend yourself, or does it become a right? So the thing is like, where does the duty form into the right process? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's that you basically can't have one without the other.
How? Why not?
Yeah, so I would say, well, I guess
I kind of see where he's coming from. Like, I've never actually gotten really big into like the ethics of like the difference between like human rights type stuff. It's strange, right? Because there's some people in Christian camps that would say that we do have human rights because of the fact that we're made in the image of God, that there's certain things that we naturally not ought to do or naturally possess as a thing for ourselves. But there's also another camp of people that would say that, there's no human rights at all. There's just duties, or there's just things that we should do because God is the grounding agent for that said thing, and God is the only thing that grounds that said thing. I'm kind of in the middle
I
of
think.
those. You know, I don't know.
Wait, what's the other position? The first position you
The,
mentioned?
the first position is that God basically made us with the inclination of basically possessing rights because we're made in His image, right?
I
So like
think
that's
that,
the first position.
I think that we are ordered to God, but we are made by God to naturally be able to come to.
Wasn't our position? Wait, is if like mistake me if I'm wrong, but isn't our position technically just like, when God says we're made in His image, like us in a sense being able to like be in His operations?
In his operation. I mean, I think it
Oh,
would be
not
able to,
in. I meant like share.
like I think the intellect and the will, sure. The capability,
Yeah.
rational thinking, the acts of intellect, sure. I think that that's the proper way to interpret it. It's not going to be like anything like, oh yeah, God is
Bro,
like
chat is railing Mezio right now. It's hilarious. I can mistake me if I'm wrong.
That's like the worst thing you can say, dude.
that was so bad, dude. That was just like, can I get a please burger cheese? It's like the same type of shit. It's the same beat.
No, because I've been up for like since like 5 or 4 a.m.
Am I
Dude,
left, bro? Am I left?
I'm on like a caffeine crash, dude. So it's generally just bad right now.
Start with,
Plus
I
my
would say,
English
well,
has.
I have then
At least you're not an
an
alchemist.
entitlement to not be. And we could go and look
But the third Five Nights at Freddy's game is the best one, in my opinion.
at particulars
Yeah,
like
it's
biblical.
not. It's
I'll
the
just
worst
say this.
one.
It sounds to me like you're not a Christian. The argument you're proposing is that Christianity is subjective and only partial. Therefore,
Oh
the right
shit!
cannot
I
exist
can't.
because
Hold
God's
on.
law,
I cannot
God's
show
word
that
is not
server
mandate
in
for
this
all.
under this
Straight,
stream.
are you asking me?
That's what I hear from you.
Oh no.
When he
That's a
says the
gate.
opposite,
That's a
I'm
gate.
saying,
No.
I
I'm saying
can't do
that God is giving you a sequence of duties, not in any way
Sorry,
any
guys.
rights.
When God says, "Thou shalt not,"
That's a duty.
the presumption is that we, under God's law, are protected from being.
Nope.
Wait,
Where's that presumption?
I don't know if
The presumption is that God has ordered you not to.
Yeah, that's right.
Thou shalt
God
not
has
steal.
ordered me not to kill you.
Right. So there's.
Why does that suppose
My entitlement?
that
God
you're
has told you
entitled to not
do it.
get?
Because God told you not to do it.
No, God told. Okay, that makes no sense.
Explain.
Well, how
Why
does
you
it
say that? Just
how does it follow? You
Bro, Tim Pool, like I cannot freaking stand how dishonest he is when he argues. Like it actually
which one is that guy? The
blows
bearded?
no,
This one?
no, the dude with the freaking the
beanie?
dude with the beanie. He is
Yeah, I
so
agree.
like that just logically follows. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does.
Yeah, I watched him argue with Dyer, and I was
He
like,
kind of reminds me of like Jay Dyer when like Jay Dyer ever gets pressed on something.
I mean, like that dude. First off, that was an immovable object facing a unstoppable force. By the way, that debate was hilarious. I loved that.
Dyer and him, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they're
an
just sitting there
immovable object
staring
and an
at each other.
unstoppable force. Freaking
Yeah,
sitting
there's
there.
something going on. Rhetoric maxing.
literally,
and-
God says you can't do it.
hang on.
I love Jay.
Nah,
though,
Jay,
man.
Demonstrate
Jay's
how-
just fun.
I love
in
Jay.
debates, in my opinion.
No, he is. He makes it enjoyable, and also he's
Yeah.
very, very good at
He's
rhetoric
like-
to the
he's
point
like-
where like he's like
He's
really
like
good
Nick
at like
Fuentes.
convincing the
If
audience.
Nick Fuentes was actually good, basically.
Wait. So, like, if I believe in the papacy and I have to affirm that the most universal jurisdiction is the true papacy, and then there's like a contradiction supposedly in the papacy that I currently affirm, but Jay's papacy is relatively universal in the sense that its jurisdiction spans out to all the diorites. Would I just be like a papist diorite?
I'm
Yeah, you
continuing the
become one
video.
of us.
Positive. If God says I cannot do a
Become
thing,
one of
that
us.
means you have a right to a thing.
Yes.
Thou shalt not buy a house, but you have a right to.
You have free will. You can.
Where book chapter verse, bro. Thou shalt not buy a house, but I have the right. Yo,
good.
dude, communism in the Bible. Boom, boom, boom.
Thou shalt
my
not
God.
own private property.
Yeah, exactly. Thou shalt not own private property.
As soon as you say like thou shalt not steal, yeah.
Thou
don't-
thou
don't-
shall seize the means of production. Am I right?
Yeah,
Thou
don't.
shalt- you want
It's
if you're
not
thou
thou shalt
shalt
not steal. It's thou shalt borrow.
Thou shalt borrow.
Thou shalt not
Thou-
borrow.
Thou
You
shalt
rent
not
from
borrow.
yourself.
Not a
Thou
Christian.
shalt not rent from
which is
yourself.
the argument you're making. People who are not Christians
Thou shalt not apply interest rates to loans.
will violate God's law, God's word.
Well,
So then
if
it's
I
not
can
a
interject
right.
there, I would even go. I would even go one
The
further
presumption
than
that
Tim.
I don't understand what you're trying to say, that rights are things that are impossible to happen in the real world.
Both of
No,
these
I'm
guys are
saying
equally.
that
They're both equally like spiritually Israeli, if that makes any sense. I'm just gonna let you play the video.
They're the start of David
a
country.
right
We can, I don't
is
think we can
a
actually say
Entitlement.
that.
entitlement absent a duty. And I'm saying
Yeah.
that the things that
So if you are Christian,
hang on,
you can't.
yeah, that's a duty.
What word are they using?
I generally do not know. Actually,
I agree with
They're
that.
like,
Yeah.
I agree that
They're
Christians
just
have
they're
duties.
just like word salad.
What I don't agree with is that Christians have rights. So there's no
Like
real right to
buzzword after
life.
buzzword.
Yeah, see, so I agree with Andrew, like on the whole aspect of like saying that people don't have like rights naturally, like in that in simpliciter. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
right, big word.
Die at birth, right? There's no, you don't really
Bryce, how do you get out of PoE? Oh, really simple. If God chose to actually get rid of all evil in the world, you'd cease to exist. GG's.
have a right to do this.
Exactly, because
and
we
also
are
God's
predated.
nature can't be contrary.
You
So
think babies don't have a right to life?
well, hang on. I'll explain. God's nature can't be contrary. You agree with that, right?
Elaborate what you mean by that.
So God,
Can't contradict himself.
yeah, he can't make a God more powerful than him.
Michaelites will win. Michaelites. That's a real thing.
I disagree with that.
Is he talking about Pope Michael?
No,
Rest in
he's
peace.
talking about Nihilist, the TikTok guy, I think.
Oh my gosh.
So you're talking about, good God create a stone so heavy he himself cannot
Yeah.
lift it. God can do anything.
That's
Hmm.
in.
No way.
There is
There is literally no way
There's
that
no-
Tim Pool thinks
there's
that this
no way he
argument
takes
actually
that.
does something.
This is like
There's
this
no way
is
he
the
takes all
worst
powerful
position.
to literally be all powerful. I don't get I don't
That's
get
incoherent.
atheists who
It's
think
not.
that.
Logic only exists within the confines of God's
No.
word. God's word is beyond your
No,
comprehension.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. So,
First
God-
off, that was a word maxing statement. That was all
okay.
a word maxing.
No,
So
it's
just to
buzzwords,
clarify,
dude.
if God is the being of all beings and we are related to him insofar as that we have being and we are in the image of him, because with respect to creatures, we are related to God insofar as that we do exist, and these properties that are set up that are good of us are just imperfections that when we perfect we can attribute to God himself. Okay, now I don't want to get into univocity, but
logic.
that's not what I'm
is a
doing.
Ooh, secret SCOTUS.
transcendental category, and since it's a transcendental category, we know it exists even though it's not physical. But all things bind by it. Part of God's nature
Is
has
Jesus
to.
God?
Don't say a part.
Yes.
Would
But thankfully, Tim's a nutcase, so he would never catch that anyway.
Jesus be able to lift a 5-ton boulder?
Sure, there's nothing logically wrong with that.
Yeah, dude. Plus,
There's nothing wrong with
everyone knows
that.
Jesus
I'd say
is
it's metaphysically
American
possible
number.
too. Don't
let
at
me,
me.
Michael. I have an argument for God, and my medium. My favorite argument for God is the modal epistemic argument, but I think that like the easiest argument is probably the argument for motion. I think that one's consistent.
Then
Nah, dude.
There's no
I low-key-
contradiction there.
so
Of course, Christ
certainly
can
Jesus
lift 500 tons.
did perform miracles.
Because
That's
no one
the-
knows
but
this.
There's
Yeah.
no contradictions with those. So those follow the lines of logic. God's nature still has to be logical because it's part of his nature. His ontology is logic.
So
I see where he's getting at with that, but that's his nature.
We would
is
say
logic.
that because God.
I would say that logic is represented in logi.
Yeah, I think that logic. We can apply logic to God insofar as we can say beings are logical. It would make no sense because we would say that God is above being, which doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
God exists; He's in conformity with Himself.
Yes. So basically, logic is something that's derived from the order of all logi, or they call it the logos, right? A lowercase l, logos, right? The logos of all things, or the logi. All of them are intertwined with each other, and they're ordered, which then represents logic. It's not something that, technically speaking, is just identical to God's nature. You don't want to say something like that.
my
Like, can
point
God,
is,
you're saying God can make a burrito that's so big he can't eat it?
of course.
What? That's incoherent. That's like
Dude, W argument. I'm writing that down.
That's so stupid. I can't hide.
Can God create a burrito so big he can't eat it? What is W?
Wait, that was actually a funny analogy.
That's a good one.
That is absolutely based.
That is vague.
It's literally not.
It is. It's totally. That's literally the definition of incoherence.
It's
Totally incoherent.
Literally not.
See that right there? Do you see what Tim just did? It's not.
Yeah.
Answer it.
He
It's not.
sounded like-
It's not
he sounded
incoherent.
like-
I have no argument as to why it's incoherent, but it's not incoherent. Go on.
He sounds like a weed eater in the summertime. Like you walk outside, it's like a weed eater. It's like it's like revving up. Right? Like he's in the background. He's a little weed
How is it
eater.
not? Okay, go ahead.
So I can use it.
Oh, you said go ahead. You'll mark that down. Andrew Wilson has started
W
his,
rhetoric.
W rhetoric. I love go ahead.
I can use an example
Okay.
like programming.
Why did you run from Eric? Dude, who's Eric? Who's Eric?
Eric Ibarra.
Okay.
Dude, first off, I've been
Dude.
back and forth with that man on Twitter.
I can program
Bro,
a video game
Bryce,
in which I have
Bryce ran
What?
from me actually when I was a Shia Mormon.
Yes.
absolute authority over the
Like I
whole thing.
said,
I can change the rules at any moment. Within the confines of this game, I can create a rock that my avatar cannot move.
Sure.
Yeah, and Andre, that's the reason why I'm actually reviewing this, right? Because, like, I know obviously that, like, he admits that he's not like a theologian. So, like, I like actually watching things like this because then I can kind of like explain, more from like like somebody who likes theology. I'm not a theologian. Somebody who does theology, just in general studies theology, to actually kind of like provide that, right?
I can program it so that my mouse can't move
I'll
it
grant it.
until I go into the BIOS.
And you
change
both
it.
program the video game and not program the video game?
Bryce is afraid to debate Elohimists. That's elite ball knowledge. That guy's crazy.
Yes. What do you mean?
What? How do So you can make a video game that you never made.
What are you trying to say?
Can you make a video game that you never made?
Yes.
What?
I've
Oh, brother. I've debated Cartesian
Did he
multiple
just say
times.
What do you mean?
yes?
That's a
Yes, he said yes.
Dude, I don't
Because it's-
understand why people hold to this. It's just like, can we even make logical statements about God if God isn't conformed to like contradictions? It doesn't make any sense because then
Oh,
like,
dude. Dude, is Elliot from T ball knowledge? It is ball knowledge because T stands for the Elliot argument. I know about that. I actually have the book.
who is that guy, bro? Oh my! I see him on my TikTok all the time. I'm just like, who is this?
It's just a weird ass version of tag. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I literally can
Contradiction.
only make games I've never made. I don't make the same game twice.
No. And you
Unless
both
it's a
make a
sequel.
game while at the same time you're not making the game.
But I don't
Can
understand.
the game exist and at the same time?
Yo, Isaiah, question for you. Would you rather have unlimited bacon but no games or unlimited games but no games?
Good question.
Exactly.
Good question. Good
Nobody
question.
can ever answer this question. Christians can never answer this question.
Time not exist.
There is a reality where yes, quite literally, it's called the paradox. Paradoxes are things that exist within the confines of our logical.
No, that's a
reality.
contradiction. A paradox is different than a contradiction. Tim, you
A paradox is self-referencing, by the way, to the beginning of the proposition. That's not a contradiction by itself.
Yeah, it's a tautology. I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I
You're good.
apologize.
But basically, like a paradox is not something that automatically is a contradiction. He's fully right there. A paradox is just something that refers to the beginning of a proposition, again, based off of the answer.
Yeah, it's like
cannot both.
Hmm?
It's like when Bertrand Russell develops his issue or contradiction or paradox, the Bertrand Russell's Barber paradox in set theory. It's not like a contradiction. It's just a set of all stars.
Yeah.
Me and you. You can only be you.
You don't know that.
Well, yeah.
Wait, what?
A paradox is different than a contradiction. Tim, you cannot both be me and you. You can only be you.
You don't know that.
Like this can't be real, bro.
Yo, this is
can't
the
be
greatest
real.
epistemological statement of all time.
This
He
can't be
doesn't know
real.
if he's him or not him.
Bryce J confirmed SSPX. I did admit that if I were to ever become Roman Catholic, it would have to be at least bare minimum SSPX.
I deny Vatican II's material. Never mind. I'm not. gonna
I
do
said that if I
Never
ever was one, I would be a bare minimum SSPX fanatic SCOTUS, and you can't
mind.
stop me.
Crap, dude, I'm
Well,
gonna shut my
yeah, dude,
fucking-
because it would violate the
Actually,
law of
I agree with
non-contradiction.
this.
So this is where I feel like you're running into a problem. You
Okay.
think you know God.
No, I only understand that God has to have a nature, an ontological nature.
And
like
you don't
everything.
and
The ontological nature. That's
An ontological. What does that even
hell
mean?
yeah,
dude?
hell yeah. It's
The study-
that would be
the
that would
study-
be a tautology.
what
Yeah,
you think
that-
you know of
Definitely.
Yeah.
God
God
is
tells us his
looking
nature.
looking through a keyhole through a 800 bedroom
This is
mansion.
based on what God tells us his nature is.
Yes, and God can't. You can't comprehend higher dimensions. It's physically impossible.
This is an energy. What you're talking about is what's called an essence energy distinction.
Oh boy, this is gonna be. I'm so excited for this part.
I'm excited. This is great. I never thought you would be able to pull this out.
agree with you that I can only participate in the energy of God, but I cannot understand the essence of God. That I agree with.
I don't think you're a Christian.
Okay.
If you affirm EED, you're not a Christian. He's a Catholic.
This is okay. Even as a no, don't do that. Don't do that. No, I would never say that.
I know. You're one of the cool people. I get it. That's why I have you up here all the time.
Yes. There's no.
Yeah, but we do like to jab each other with knives sometimes for no reason, so it's all good.
But bro, the energy's composition is just, but composition is just.
So you're a polytheist.
So you're a polytheist.
There's a simple question.
This is Catholic dogma, Tim. I don't think you're a Christian because you're disagreeing with me on the nature of the.
Can God create a boulder so heavy that he himself cannot lift it?
No.
God
Tim Pool's admitted multiple times that he's not actually a theist. He just literally steals Christian ethics and just holds to them.
exists outside of the confines of this logic in which you think you exist. God is so far beyond you, you cannot comprehend this.
He affirms Christian ethics because of the fact that it yields good results. That's the reason why he affirms them, not because of the fact that they're grounded or that they actually have epistemic capabilities of justification or anything like that. He holds to them because of the fact that they have results. It's ridiculous. It's pragmatic, bro. It's just pragmatic.
What's good, Bryce? God bless.
So,
yeah, what in the world am I watching right now?
Tim Pool and Andrew Wilson argue about theology. It's amazing.
Lord have mercy.
If God can lift a rock is asking
needs to
like,
stick to politics.
it's a stupid question because we are one tragigillionth of the universe. And
yo, tragigillionth, bro. That's the holy moly.
The amount of jargon words involved.
Yo, this rhetoric is insane.
Yo, tragigillionth, bro.
I've never heard that word in my life. How many zeros is that?
Dude, that reminds me of the argument that I made forever ago about somebody who basically affirmed it was the Elohimist guy. He affirmed that basically every single person in the eschaton will become a hypostasis of God, basically.
What?
And yes. So I basically said, so you affirm a future octobolinity. That was a word that I used. Tragigillion, bro. Dude, it's a Brazilian dollars, bro. Like.
And you are
Have you read Quine? No.
Supposing God lives in your rules. That is.
Do you hate analytical philosophy? I think it's demonic.
That is reductivist.
It's
earthly,
demonic.
one-dimensional
It's demonic
thinking.
in and of
Yeah,
itself.
Yes.
But when applied, when Christians apply it to argue against other analytic philosophers, it's okay. So it's okay to like Oderberg. Certain Orthodox Christians, I'm sure, study it. It's just like don't ever claim to be an analytical Polymath. I remember sending Bryce a screenshot of that, somebody's profile. That's embarrassing, dude.
That shit was funny.
That is hypocrisy.
Adrian, I'm talking about the octobolinity, bro.
Saying there's universes where there could be contradictions.
I'm saying
Could I interject here with a question on the nature of God for Tim? Tim, do you think that God could be, instead of a supreme good, supreme evil?
I don't know that there is such a distinction.
I don't know that there's such a distinction. What are we doing, man?
That was
Why is he talking like that?
Like holy Oralos. Like the way that he said that was so freaking, oh my god.
Sound like he just inhaled helium.
The Michaelites are analytical Palamites. I don't know. St. Gregory Palamas would disagree with all this.
That is signs of apostasy. If you're
God as the creator of all things is not going to be.
Literally everyone that comes, especially directly after St. Gregory Palamas, the way that they talk about things like EED and stuff like that, like it's verbatimly against like a ton of the stuff that people would say in that category.
Good nor evil.
What?
I'm not a Christian.
But I mean, it would. Okay, so.
Well,
So-
no.
Dude, he got freaking stun locked by that. He's like, what? Like he just lost it from that.
I'm not
So the
even
thing is like what
I'm
you're
not even
saying,
asking-
what you just said is, I understand the nature of God.
No.
I understand that this being who lives in this different dimension that I could never fathom.
I'm saying God
could neither
doesn't-
be evil nor good. That's you making
Bro.
a declaration that you understand the nature of God.
No, it's that I would not describe God as good or evil because God exists outside the confines of human comprehension.
That is the most platonic thing I've ever heard in my life.
Goodness itself.
Holy
I'm
moly,
sorry.
that
I was about it.
that was platonic, bro.
Whoever sent me something, I don't know who sent me something. I love you. Bartholomew?
Okay.
To
and can
assert
exist in
that-
contradiction?
Because
If I
contradiction
could-
exists only within our reality.
No.
You cannot comprehend what exists outside of the
Literally, the laws of logic do.
Yeah, he believes that good and evil are subjective, and that the monad that exists outside of time and space has nothing to do with that. Like that's just it's not
I
Neoplatonic.
think this
It's just
whole concept
Platonic.
is just thank you for whatever you sent me. I appreciate it.
Bryce, my friend just told me that he sprayed 96 sprays of a cologne. That's really bad.
I'm gonna die.
He's probably gonna actually like low key lose his smell, like his sense of smell for a while.
Not actually exist physically in our reality. They're transcendental
Yes, Jay dragged him. Like really.
He just
bad.
says transcendental. Oh my gosh.
categories. They govern our reality.
W tag, dude.
I
but
don't
they
think you're
exist.
Christian.
Okay, what? Well, this is all.
You're saying
this is
God
all Christian
has
dogma.
to follow these rules. Period.
No, I'm saying that God.
Sadly, tag goes straight over Tim Pool's head, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
He's not the right he's not the right person to talk about
You
tag.
can't
with.
invoke.
It's
You
just
can't
not.
invoke any sort of those arguments. You gotta like involve like an infinite regress. Every
Has a
time.
nature like Tim has a nature. Like, for instance, okay, your nature as Tim, the things that make up you. You have a heart and you have lungs and you have things like this, and your heart and your lungs and things like this do work inside of your body that assist your body in moving and functioning and this and that. They're part of what you are. To take all of those things out would change who you are. Okay? This is the same thing with God. We're just saying that there's a part of God's nature which he has shared with us as part of his nature,
Part of his nature?
as the Logos. The Logos, part of it.
Yo, did you see that? Did you see the guy inside the chat? He immediately called that out because he's using the word part.
Part. I said
Was that you?
me.
No, you didn't say that. Hold
It's
on.
the same thing with God. We're just saying that there's a part of God's nature which he has shared with us as part of his nature,
Only part.
as the Logos. The Logos, part of it is logic.
Oh, did you say that? Never mind.
Only part.
What is what?
Yeah, but that
Oh.
would mean that part of God's nature is to not violate logic.
Did God create this universe, or is this universe just a function of God?
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
What does that entail? It entails entailment. That's what it entails. Go ahead.
I gotta pee, bro.
All right, I'm gonna entertain everyone. Ask me a bunch of questions, guys, about Ontic Parsement. I'm playing. What's up, Damascus? But yeah, we would not say that God is like above logic. That doesn't make any sense because God is a being. This is definitely the most video ever. Bryce isn't gonna wash his hands. Yeah, I think I'm like there's definitely an issue in these statements because you would essentially be saying that logic does not apply to God. But if logic does not apply to God, we cannot make any sort of propositions of God. We all SCOTUS in here? Yes, we are based. I'm not a SCOTUS, but Bonaventure is equally as based. Bonaventure is actually more based than John Duns Scotus. Am I a logical monist? What does that entail? God exists logically. GG, yeah, he does. But I'm not I would say I hold to Aristotelian foundations of logic. Just the classical view.
There was a video that Jim Bob wanted you to break down from Joshua Sijiwati. I'll watch it after this. He said it's like 10 minutes. Okay.
God created the universe.
So God could change the rules?
Well, no, that would be illogical.
God could not change the rules of the universe.
No, it would
Well,
it would go
if I-
contrary to. So it's like what you're asking me is this: what would it be like if fire wasn't hot? Well, now we've changed the fundamental reality of what fire is.
So I'll simplify it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe our
Yo, that was like directly from Aristotle. That was legit.
I mean, I think what he's saying is true. There's only a certain respect in which God could change things, because the way in which we conceive of things, and like let's say that God made man irrational, that's like a contradiction, because man is a rational animal. What's my argument for God? The modal epistemic argument. It basically says,
go ahead.
Every first order proposition, if a first order proposition is possible, then it is knowable. The proposition, or the first order proposition, God does not exist, is unknowable, therefore it is impossible. Therefore God, or the proposition God does exist, is necessarily the case. Because the way that I would define God here is just a personal first cause. I'm not sort of implementing any case of like God being possessing of these omni properties. I think the order in which we should argue is by hierarchy after you supplement this argument, because most atheists would concede that a personal first cause has no contradictions and it's logically possible. And I'm yet to find a proposition given an existential claim that an agent cannot know, like God. And if you try to switch it and say, okay, impersonal first cause, for example, or a cause that is not God, well, if God is logically possible, then God would know that this impersonal first cause does not exist because he is the personal first cause. Therefore, that proposition is knowable, that the impersonal first cause is not the case. So anyways, I have a paper on it. If anyone wants to read that, you can just message me. But
Cool.
Our reality, first of all, what we think we know in science, there are higher dimensions we can't perceive. This implies, as most scientific discoveries in the last 130 years, if we choose to believe them, for instance, the electromagnetic spectrum, humans, or air is my favorite example. Humans did not know that air existed.
Theory of air. The theory of air.
wait, did you error theory?
Air theory.
Wait.
They couldn't perceive it until there was this guy who was showering who realized that there is matter in and all around us. There have been new.
Is that really how we discovered to call air something? There's no freaking way if somebody was showering and just went, what's that shit outside the water though? There's no way that somebody did that, bro.
What am I breathing, son?
What am I putting in my lungs, man? What is that?
Numerous instances where humans realize that things we can't perceive exists. And that is indicative of humans don't know nearly enough about the universe, and that we do know. The discovery of the charged electromagnetic spectrum revolutionized human thought because we didn't realize that what we touch, smell, see, and hear as reality is less than a millionth or a billionth of what reality actually is.
Or a trillionth. Or a trillionth. Who knows? Yeah.
Or a tragigillionth.
We're just at this point, we're just jargon maxing with numbers, man. I don't really.
Not understanding dark matter. We are a speck in a massive universe on the ass of a mosquito relative to what God is or could be. Humans saying, I know.
And the universe is a tragigillionth years old.
The nature of God is arrogance that defies the idea of what we know we are limited in thinking. That is, the average person thinks.
So he's like a deist. He's like a deist because I think that like he thinks, I don't even think he affirms that God is personal. Like, because remember when he asked about the function, like if he said, did God choose to create, or was it a function of God? I think he was like asking, is creation something that's natural to him, or is it something that's, that he willed?
I don't know. Cause I mean,
I think he affirms a necessary creation, or like just that it's like an emanation of the monad or something.
Yeah. Thinks infinity is a number.
Yeah, but
that
makes no sense because all the things that you're saying right now.
Well, most deists end up as being Platonists. Like, I mean, that's usually just what they collapse
attributes are trying to define the nature of God, even though you don't think you are. If you're saying, for instance, if you say,
want to put God in a box, I'm saying God exists.
It's the opposite. So if you say God is so complex you can't understand it, you have actually given me criteria for the nature of God. If you say God is timeless,
lack of knowledge.
Yo, he just refuted apophaticism, by the way. I'm kidding. But if you say you can't know what God is, then therefore you made a positive claim about God's essence. Therefore,
I will say this is like the first time I've watched him This is the first time I've watched that guy debate, and it's not like some woman he's yelling at for being like an absolute. Like,
No,
Jezebel.
he low key. He low key actually is doing pretty dang good right now.
No, he's not
Yeah,
doing
if you
that at
say
all.
God is timeless, you've given me criteria for the nature of God. If you say God exists in the 19th dimension, you have now expressed the nature of God.
The tragic Gillionth dimension.
Okay,
So
dude,
what we're
alright,
doing
sorry.
is the same exact thing. I'm expressing to you the biblical nature of
He's
God.
predicating things
What
of
God
God
expresses to
in the Dionysian sense.
us
You're
is
making
part
an
of his
atheist
nature.
argument to me.
It's not atheist.
So
It's the opposite. It's dogma.
atheists are the ones who argue to me the universe is mathematical, logical, cold, and it is what it is. It is functions as such.
No, they're physical.
And literally none of what Andrew said came to that conclusion. I don't know how. I don't know how he got.
What
that
does
conclusion.
cold even mean, dude? What does that even mean?
I don't know. Yeah,
The universe is cold.
That's
Wow.
that's a word. That's a word, Max. That was a word.
Yeah,
Max.
and
genuinely.
Einstein.
Actually, no. That was a. What's the opposite of maxing something? Minning.
Depriving something.
Depriving. Word deprived. He's word deprived.
Einsteinian God, which is an atheist view, is the view that that God is a God of science and that exists
Dogma counter and cool word counter too. Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate the counters you're giving us right now.
as some form of the universe. And then
Would you debate Twax? Depends on what he wants to talk about.
my view of God is that God exists beyond, and that our concepts of physics are just components of what God has created, and God is likely beyond our own perception and comprehension.
But you've said a bunch of things here that have entailments. God creates. So we know that for sure, right?
And in science, nothing
So
can be created.
if God, so hang on. So if God creates and God was the first thing, then that means God was uncreated.
Just
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So if God was uncreated and God created, now we know something about the nature of God.
certainly.
That's
that
great.
is great. That is a great response to that because he
was
affirmed
really good.
he affirmed the orthodox apophatic view, of course, of only using apophatic terminology for the essence by saying uncreated, right? Because that's something that you can say directly with the
Truly
essence.
Dionysian.
Yeah, this is Dionysius maxing. This is good.
Yeah. So this is my whole point. And so we could say the same thing, right? Same thing here.
I think you're an atheist.
Okay. Well, that makes no
you're
sense.
making the
but
best. You're making the best case argument for atheism I've ever heard.
How?
Would you debate Torn? I have no idea who that is.
That God is what we experience in the universe is what we would describe as God. It is the definition of everything
So
atheists have ever argued.
I think
to me.
his issue fundamentally is he thinks that a coherent position of theism is basically saying that it's almost like fideist. He's saying that like we cannot discover anything about God nor compare him with creation because God is above everything. All these principles.
So
We
you
can't
just- you
even
have to have-
define him.
So you just have to have pure faith.
Yeah, pure faith, fideist. He's basically saying
Who is better,
blind-
Juju or Lucas? I have not ever seen Lucas debate. I've only ever seen Juju debate.
I'm not even making arguments to you right now. All I'm
You said
doing is expressing
God,
to you
God
that
is not all powerful.
no, the opposite.
You said God can't create a boulder he cannot lift.
No, because
Every single
Yeah,
priest
do you know what-
and theologian I've talked to has said the
yeah,
opposite.
no, none of them. Their dogma literally would prevent them from defining the nature of God. Not a single theologian on planet Earth who's a priest has ever said to you, Tim, God could create a God more powerful than him. That never happened.
they said
Except for
Not
James
possible.
Martin.
Claim
Sorry.
to understand
I'm sorry.
Instead of who?
I said except for James Martin.
Oh,
the power of God is arrogance to assert that you know what God
I'm
could or
not
could
saying
not
what
do.
the power of God is. I don't know exactly what the limits of all powerful are.
No, you're saying
All
that
I
this
under-
reality is a part of God and is what it is, and it's uncontradictory and unchanging.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that
Jarvis, tell me everything there is to know about apophatic theology right now.
the laws of logic, right? The law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, the law of excluded middle are part of the nature of God. We know this because this is how God created everything and how God expressed to us he creates. So if that is the case, we can understand that that's part of God's nature.
Knowing God
I
by his
think-
effects, nice.
Dude, he's doing a really good job. It's just
Yeah.
the language. I don't really like his use of part. He uses it way too much.
He's just saying it nominally. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but it doesn't even matter with who he's talking to.
Yeah.
But
No, Tim Cass
Sure.
does not EO Cero at all. He's like a deist, like Platonist. He affirms Christian ethics for its functionality, the fact that it works, but he doesn't actually believe that the Bible itself like legitimately tells us about God. Like he thinks that that's just a man-made story, but the ethics derived in it function well for society, therefore we follow it. And then you affirm basically the purely apathetic God of deism.
More masculine Ben Shapiro. I'm sorry.
He will not defy his nature because it's his nature. Will not defy.
The nature of God, as you described it, is the universe.
No, it's not the universe.
No.
The universe had a creator.
What?
Nature, because it's his nature. Will not defy.
The nature of God, as you described it, is the universe.
No, it's not.
He just said that there's no contradictions, and he's just like, okay, therefore it's the universe. Okay, what?
I don't. How does he actually come to these conclusions?
I
think he's listening. I think that he's listening to reply. I think that's what he's doing.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he's genuinely not learning anything.
Like I guarantee you, if Andrew freaking Steelman checked him once, Tim would fall apart instantly. Like just one. Can you repeat my question? Just ask it once. And most of the time, well, first off, most of the time people can't do that because when you're debating, people listen to reply. That is usually what a debate is. You're listening to something because you need to have a response for it, not because you're actually trying to take that information and go, okay, that makes sense. Because first off, nobody's going to do that. Right?
No, nobody does it on TikTok at the very least, bro. They're always like, oh.
Not the universe.
Who's the best after St. Gregory Palamas? Can't mention St. Gennadios. I mean, his best friend, St. Philotheos Kokkinos, David Dissipados was somebody who knew him as well. St. Nielos Kabasilos as well. He was a disciple of St. Gregory Palamas.
We would say probably, never mind, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to.
No, you're good. Or St. Mark of Ephesus has a work on EED. It's called Against Manuel Calicus. Yeah.
Wait, Bryce, do you think that the Sacred Heart is an historian?
I don't know. I haven't studied near enough of it. I've heard the arguments for it being Nestorian, but at the same time, like I know that the worship is still the latria is still applied in your guys' view to the Trinity by the adoration of what is it, dulia to the heart, hyperdulia to the heart. What is it?
Are you talking about what we give to the heart itself?
Yeah, like adoration.
Relative latria.
Relative offering, like what is that? Dulia, hyperdulia.
Relative latria. It's latria.
Relative latria. Okay.
Yeah, it's relative.
I mean, like, I haven't looked too much into that specifically, so I mean, I'm not really gonna make a claim like that. But I think that it's just incorrect, like because the Orthodox Church denies it. Like it's kind of like I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna piss people off. I don't agree with the Immaculate Conception because the Orthodox Church disagrees with it. Not really because I have an argument.
So you think it's coherent?
Conception. I don't think it's logically impossible.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
But at the same time, I just disagree with it. I don't believe that it's correct. I think that was something that was an innovation still. I still think that it was innovative. I don't think that it was basically I don't think that it was something that's historically. I don't think it's historically accurate. Things like that.
We need to debate on the Immaculate Conception. I'll SCOTUS max you.
No, I don't. That's the main reason why I don't debate against the Immaculate people against that. Like me and Dion are great friends, and like Dion asked me like at one point if I wanted to debate about Immaculate Conception. I said no because there's some fathers that we do have that gave a position that was extremely similar to it, like Saint Gennadios, for example, right? Like, and there's Sarah, like obviously we would hold the position that the Immaculate Conception was not exactly something that was taught by the fathers based off of their wording of sin and things like that. Right. So like in our view, right, something like the Immaculate Conception doesn't work for the way that we view atonement and Christology.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's the main reason why. So that's why I'm saying it's not logically impossible. Right. I'm not saying something like that. I think that God very well within his own bounds would be able to do something like that. Why wouldn't he? Right. But at the same time, like I just don't think it's historically accurate to say that occurred because it's a historical claim. Right. At the end of the day, the Immaculate Conception is a claim about history and a claim about the ontology of Mary based off of history. So I disagree with it historically.
It's a very hard position to supplement for historically. I think that SCOTUS even in his writings of the Ordinatio, because it's something that I've came to many times because I'm really interested in Mariology. It's very It's very beautiful. But
Noel, if you want me to steelman a Roman Catholic position on that, because I have heard them actually reply to that question when it says why wouldn't he do that to others, he would basically do something specifically for Mary for the economy, right? He would be doing it for the economy in order for Jesus to basically fulfill certain prophecies like Wisdom 2. Wisdom chapter 1 verse 3 specifically, where it says that wisdom does not dwell in a body of sin. They think that refers to original sin in the Catholic Church.
I like Scotus's position on the incarnation as well, to be one with humanity, because I mean, you could buy the Immaculate Conception, because we would say that she was atoned for in the sense that her atonement was distinguished from the way that we are atoned for, because it was at the moment of her animation, quite differently from how we were atoned for at the cross itself.
Yeah, and I mean, like, different Orthodox Christians also have different views, like especially even like in the history of the church, on like the level of justification for Mary when it comes to like the degree of when she was cleansed of her original sin. So that's the reason why I'm saying that I don't exactly sit here and like debate against the Immaculate Conception, because at the end of the day, people like St. Ignatius, for example, like he affirmed something that is not heretical to say in the Orthodox Church, called the dispassionate conception, where basically the parents of Mary actually had a perfect form of intercourse, basically, where there was absolutely no passion involved in said thing, and so she was basically cleansed of her original sin from being birthed. Right, that was when she was cleansed of her original sin from the process of going through birth.
Wait, the guilt is in the act itself. That's what constitutes the original guilt.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
The universe had a creator.
Yeah, it's because of the fact that basically, like intercourse, for example, is pretty much impossible to do without subjecting yourself to some form of passions, which is the thing that passes on the stain.
That's why we would say that Mary is a virgin, essentially.
Yes. And that creator had to be uncreated.
That's why being a virgin also is more pious, technically, in some senses.
It's only permitted, really.
And technically, you're supposed to try to get married, blah blah blah. But like, it's for continuing generations, of course. But it's for the economy, right? Did Augustine teach the Assumption or the Dormition? I mean, like, I don't think that Augustine taught that Mary didn't die. That's not even dogma in the Catholic faith. Like, they don't, like, they actually have disagreements on that too, like just like we do. Like, there's some people in the Orthodox Church that will say she was assumed, and then there's some people say that she died.
I think if you can prove the Immaculate Conception, then it would.
I would agree with you there. If the Immaculate, I'll put it like this: just for the Catholics, right? If the Immaculate Conception was true, the Assumption, I think, would be the necessary doctrine.
Because you would essentially be saying the human nature in itself is incorruptible. Therefore, she had to be assumed.
Yeah, she couldn't die technically, right?
Yeah, the universe is a part of God.
That's why Jesus.
That's a Gnostic belief.
That's what you just said.
No, I didn't say that. At all.
You said
it's a Gnostic belief to believe that everything is
of the
parts
universe,
of
the
God.
logic is a part of God.
Wait, where would the passion be in insemination, though? Wouldn't that edge case refute that idea? Due to the fact that you have to actually develop passions for the person that you intend to inseminate, no matter what, right? You have to have a lustful passion in some way, shape, or form to perform these actions, and because of that, you're technically speaking still. Let me put it like this: in the garden. Right, prior to us being on this earth, right, the way that it is now, right, the way in which Adam and Eve would have had kids if they would have never fallen would not have been the subject to thinking that they're hot or something, right? Like I hate to say things like this out loud, but the topic's going. Adam wouldn't have to get ready. Does that make sense? All of these things are necessary in order to perform intercourse. These are all things that, technically speaking, are still passions that exist within us that are not part of the deified nature.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense, because we would say that Adam didn't have any children with Eve because he lacked the passion or the ability. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the reason why that would be. Is everything in existence right now a manifestation from God? It's not manifested.
No.
What does that mean?
Logic is part of.
Bryce never checks YouTube chat. I've been responding to people on YouTube chat. That's not true. I literally first off, I just read the thing from TPG. I have the chats right next to each other. I swear.
God's nature. You're saying that because the universe is also governed by logical.
But to be fair, though, I look at the TikTok chat more because it's moving a lot faster. So there's a difference.
Rules that means that it's part of God. That doesn't even follow.
You said that.
No, the opposite. I'm saying the opposite of that.
So God is illogical.
No.
Bruh. Like, I just don't understand how Tim possibly just comes to these. I think he's doing it on purpose. Like, it actually seems like he's doing that on purpose. By the way, Sarah, De Trinitat book 25 doesn't exist.
That doesn't even make sense.
There's only 15 books of De Trinitat.
Sense either. What you're saying, all these things you say, they don't follow from one another. So you have to back up to the beginning.
So you said the logos, God, the logic, God is non-contradictory.
Yeah.
What God cannot create a boulder that he himself cannot lift.
Yeah, illogical. No, because it's against his nature.
Does everything in an existence exist independent from God, or is it a manifestation from God? What?
Everything that does exist has its own ontology in the sense that it doesn't.
I don't even think that's a dichotomy. That's not a true dichotomy.
Yeah, I don't need.
Sure.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
It means that you can't do things which defy your nature because otherwise you wouldn't be you.
Explain his nature.
I just did. Part of his nature is the logos and the law of logic.
And
that's part of his nature.
That cannot be changed.
Yeah, I suppose God could change his nature.
Oh boy,
Andrew, you were doing so good.
We're doing so good, bro.
No, oh
no
my gosh.
way, bro. Oh my gosh, it's over. Was Jesus a manifestation of God?
Oh,
Jesus is the incarnate Son of God. Jesus is the Word, the eternal image of the Father.
Oh my gosh.
That is one of the worst things ever, because
That's
he's just
that's a blunder, man.
You can tell that he's just trying to sound or just trying to move on the conversation. And
But why you can't change your nature? You wouldn't change your nature.
God can't change his nature.
You wouldn't change your nature. That's
what. So he doesn't want to say that God can't do that, so he's just saying that he wouldn't. Yeah, that's still not right, though. It's okay to say that God cannot change his own nature. There's nothing wrong with that. Because God being all-powerful is something that is confined to his nature. He's all-powerful insofar as what is in his nature. So he can't change his nature. Technically speaking, he would be changing his power or his capabilities. Meaning that he could have capabilities now that he may not have if he were to decide to change them. You cannot do that. You cannot do that one.
That's the right way to phrase it. You wouldn't change your nature.
Or can he not?
Could he?
Yes.
I don't know. But I don't think it matters because your nature is what matters.
So you agree with me?
No, I don't agree with.
Do you plan on reacting to Wagner's video still? I'm going to react to something that Made by Jim Bob wanted me to review after this.
With you. What you're saying is antithetical to
the
actual
Wagner vid is a little too long. Actually, no, it's not. It's like 17 minutes. It depends on how long we go for, okay? Because I don't know how long I'm going to stream yet. I'm going to go till at least 11, but if I'm vibing, maybe I'll stay up.
No, the beginning of the conversation was me saying...
Depends on how my wife is doing as well, because if our baby that we have is torturing her, then I'm going to go help her, of course, after 11.
Just a baby.
It's just a baby.
God could change the rules as he's created them, and you said he could not.
No, because the entailment of could is a violation of nature. So if it's a violation of nature and you wouldn't, you might as well say couldn't.
That's not an argument to what I just said.
It is an argument. If I can't make Tim not be Tim because Tim has a nature. Could
I don't know what that entail. What does that mean?
I mean, is he talking about? He may be talking about nature just in the, maybe just in the particular sense.
Maybe, yeah. Because nature, if that's what.
I don't know, because like the individual Tim, right? Like that would be something. The individuation that would be your hypostasis, right? So there would be things that. So there is things of you, right, that you can say necessary to your hypostasis, but not essential, right? You can say things like that, and then the accidents, right, would obviously just be things that are added onto you that don't change your hypostasis, or that do, technically speaking, change your hypostasis. But there is things that technically ground the absoluteness of what you are, which would be the faculties of body and soul.
Yeah.
right? Like that's necessary for you to be you, right? And your identity is rooted in the composition of these two things.
If he's talking about nature in respect to like the universal, like the essential properties
Could
that make
Tim,
him,
if I gave Tim a different nature, do a different thing than his nature? Yeah, sure.
So
what?
Mhm.
Can't make Tim not be Tim because Tim has a nature. Could Tim, if I gave Tim a different nature, do a different thing than his nature? Yeah, sure.
So
what does that have to do with anything?
you think God is limited and in his capability?
Well, you
No, that it's such a dude. It's ridiculous. Like how if I were to say that God is limited to his own nature, they assume that that means that basically God cannot do everything according like to anything outside of his nature, which that's not what being omnipotent means, because this entire argument is basically trying to make him affirm that God is not omnipotent. That's the entire point of trying to make arguments like this. If you say he's limited, then he's going to basically do the reductio. Okay, well then God's not all powerful, right? But they don't realize that when we say that God is all powerful, that God is omnipotent, that is according to his nature. That is something, he does things according to his own nature.
everything, is in accordance with itself or the nature.
you would
in
have
which
to tell
it-
me how that's
yeah.
limited.
What's up, Chris? How's it going? Chris Lestrange.
God cannot affect the rules of his universe in a way that would defy your view of logic.
Wouldn't.
What? Like, okay, I think he's trying to say, could God change logic? I think that's what he's trying to say. Is that what, maybe that's what he's asking, Andrew.
His questions are very like
No, and here's why I'm gonna say no, but hear me out for a second. All right, the reason why God can't change logic is because of the fact that the logic in of itself is something that represents the order of all of the logi, right? In terms of the order or the design in which God basically, dare I say the word thinks or knows things. Right, it's a imperfect representation of the order that God chooses, the order that God knows, things like this. All of this coming into a combined
I think
tool that
logic
we
is
have.
Utterly God. Yeah, I think it's expressive of God.
Yeah. So then, with that being said, I would say that God cannot change logic because of that, because it's already a representation of the order in which God does things, which is proper to his nature. God's nature can't change, therefore, logic can't change. GG's.
And if he wouldn't, then he couldn't because he wouldn't.
That's also, oh crap. That's also the reasoning behind why that we can say that if something is logically possible, right, in all possible worlds, like that kind of applies to stuff like that.
That is not an argument.
Well, not only is it an argument,
Then God is not all powerful. See, look, they literally just don't get it. Like freaking, of course, free flies right over his head.
but Tim,
You are literally saying nothing.
Tim, you couldn't fly, right? Whether or not you would fly, okay, or could fly.
Someone needs to rip his beanie off his head. I need to see his hairline, and that's coming from me. Any man who wears a beanie 24/7, unless they're a monk, have hair
Bald.
issues. They're bald. They're bald, or they only have hair on the side of their head.
Yeah, genuinely.
If you wouldn't fly, you couldn't fly, right?
You're not saying anything.
Bro, what am I not saying?
He has shown his head on Mayan.
Can God do things?
That are outside the violation of his nature. He won't do them, no.
What is his nature?
Part of his nature
I've
would
seen
be
it.
logic.
It's bad. Well, here's the problem, and a lot of people don't even know this. And this is me like just researching like hair health because I've been trying to get like my hairline to get better by like taking products and stuff like that. Something that I learned is that if you're somebody who consistently wears hats, it actually messes with your follicles, bro. It messes with your hair growth. And a lot of people don't know that. Octavian, for $20, thank you, brother. That's fantastic. He says, bro, the best background decorations you came up with is disco lighting for the polyhomos.
You just unlocked Bryce, dude. That was good. That's a good stun lock right there.
Dude, Octavian comes in here, sends me a big ass super chat, and roasts me literally every time.
Okay, yo, free, dude. God can change things in respect.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying
if it's logically possible.
There is a logical structure to God that he cannot change.
No. Could change. When you
But
say
would not.
when you say potentiality for could, right? It's irrelevant to the view of
So
will
he
not.
can do it. He doesn't want to do it.
Possible. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you just say no. No, he cannot. And then you argue as to why that does not make him not omnipotent. You don't ever admit that God can change his own nature in any sense.
Bryce, if we
Go ahead.
no, continue.
Oh no, I was just gonna word Max just now.
Yeah, if we ever do debate each other, can you like give me a freaking like cool title, bro? Like the chief of Lullists or something.
The chief of Lullists. Have you even read a single work from him?
Yeah, that's who I've been studying. Raymond Lull.
Raymond Lull. The friggin' esoteric legend, bro.
He's like Origin of Alexandria, except he's a better Origin of Alexandria because Origin was a
he's a Catholic Origin.
No, don't say that.
Isn't he Catholic?
He's Catholic, but he's not a Catholic Origin. Don't say that. It's like contradictory.
Okay.
Because I don't understand the limitation of all powerful.
Which is my first point.
Yeah, but it just doesn't matter.
To assert that God could not do a thing because you can't understand it.
Yeah, because wouldn't here is what we're focusing on.
So how do you know that God wouldn't do a thing?
Because he told us.
What did he say?
Inside the Bible, he's very
Specifically?
Yeah, he's very descriptive about his nature and how he operates.
Tell me what he said.
We'd have to pull up the Bible so we could go over it.
Go over which part of the Bible?
Well, we would have to start with Genesis and then go through the entire ontological nature expressed.
Does logic exist independent of God? Yeah. Yes or no?
What does that even
mean?
mean?
Question. That's a good question.
I mean, like when he says exists, like in what sense?
Yeah, I do know. So like God is the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. We know that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this would infer timelessness.
I suppose, right?
Yeah. If you're
wait, didn't you say that he was a deist?
I don't know that.
Didn't you just say that he was a deist and he's over here saying that?
Well, we would have to start with Genesis and then go through the entire ontological nature expressed through the
Oh
Trinity.
my God.
So you don't know.
Yeah, I do know. So like God is the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. We know
What
that,
are we
right?
doing?
Yep.
Okay.
It's
I'm
stolen.
assuming that he's saying yep, like in regards to knowing that the Bible says it.
That's so dumb. Like he's like
this would infer.
I told you, bro. Like it's weird. He's
caressing us.
He accepts the Bible, but he doesn't actually affirm it as reality itself.
Timelessness.
It's weird.
I suppose, right?
Yeah. If you're both the beginning and the end.
I don't know that
if you're both those things at the same time, then time can't apply to you, right?
Not necessarily.
How could time apply to you if you're the beginning of it and the end of it?
Bro.
If it has a beginning and as an end, it has time.
That's not what the Alpha and the Omega means. Holy shit. He thinks that the Alpha and the Omega means that there is a beginning and end of said thing. Are you joking me right now?
Jesus. Lord help us.
There's no way.
No, not if you're the beginning and the end at the same time.
Oh,
is that what it says?
I don't know what that meant.
What does that even mean? Like
I
these
don't
are
know
all
what that meant.
tautological statements.
Yeah, I don't
This
know.
man,
I don't
this
know
man
what
has
that
said
meant.
we need a word count on how many, or a phrase count on how many times he said ontological nature, because that's one of the best things
I'm
I've
just
heard.
glad, dude. I'm glad how good Andrew's doing, bro. Like,
he's doing really good.
He's doing really good. It's just like some of the words he's saying is just kind of like.
And
what?
God could change. Yeah, that's really
that was bad. And I did say that, right? Is like the fact that he did say like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, if you are the beginning and the end.
My point is, I do not believe that it is possible for a human to understand the true nature of God.
Neither do we.
And that the assertion that God could not do a thing implies knowledge of God beyond the comprehension.
Would not do a thing.
But that makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. It's
also this is also kind of like a niche critique. It's not actually like a real one, but it is something that kind of matters when you're having theological talks, being able to distinguish essence from nature. Because
principle of act versus what it is.
Well, because like in Orthodoxy, right, like we interpret the verse in 1 Peter where it says that we'll partake of the nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's different for us because we don't think that's referring to ousia.
Yeah, I think that they're convertible with each other in a certain respect, but one is
Yeah.
principle of act and one is whatness of a thing. That's two completely different.
Yeah. So if we're referring to it as principle of act, right? Like I can say that we're going to participate in the principle of act, right? Like I could say something like that, right? But then that's not talking about the whatness, right? I'm not participating in the whatness, right?
It's a basic ontological argument. The idea that you will not go beyond the confines of your nature, whether you could or not, has no bearing on anything.
Right. So if God can't do a thing, he's not all powerful.
It's not can't. You keep on using the word can't.
God
or
wouldn't.
could.
If I could interject here with an example, and this is why I asked the question about God being the ultimate good or ultimate evil. One example that I would give is God cannot be the ultimate evil. Kind of for what Andrew would say is this is a logical contradiction, because if God was the ultimate evil, then that would mean he is ultimately like he's the maximal being in all sorts of negative attributes. One of them being selfishness, another
That would not mean that. That if
that would just mean that God does not exist. If he was the ultimate evil.
Yeah, it would mean that he doesn't exist. Evil is a privation. So if God is the ultimate evil, God is the ultimate nothing. He doesn't exist. like that's not like there's no such thing as a negative attribute. There's an attribute that we apply names to that refer to privations of good. It doesn't actually mean that there's an actual attribute that denotes an evil act. That's not how good and evil work in Christianity.
It's like the opposite of Dionysius, dude.
Yeah, being anger, selfishness to the point of wanting to be the only being in existence, but anger to the point of wanting other beings to exist to torment them arbitrarily.
Why does?
Yeah, I mean that. Like again, that type of view, right? And I hate to say this shit, and people are not going to agree with this, but if that was the way that God chose to create, guess what? If he still represents as the ultimate goodness and good and evil is something that's grounded in God, then guess what? God torturing us is now good.
Boom, boom.
So that doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. So trying to basically make a possible world where God supposedly does all of these things that we call evil in the current state of affairs in which God provided us with good and evil based off of how he is, it makes it good if God theoretically decided to create humans just to torture them. That would make that a good action. It literally would, because God would be the source of morality in general anyway.
Yeah, what debate is this?
This is Andrew Wilson versus Tim Pool on like the nature of God.
Oh, okay.
Does anger exist?
Why does anger exist?
Yes.
It's just a non sequitur. It has nothing to do with his argument.
That's true. That is a non sequitur. That has nothing to do with what Jonathan just asked. Now, granted, Jonathan is still wrong in his argument in general, though, because trying to say that he would be the ultimate evil because he would possess negative attributes, that's not true.
Just said.
Like it's an attribute.
Right. He's explaining that God can't be angry. So I'm asking, what is
anger? I don't think anger is an attribute. I think anger is an act.
That is a sensitive appetite.
Yeah, that would be more of an act that represents privation of I don't know what is the virtue for that. That would
humility.
Be
I don't know. Humility, maybe.
Yeah, anger would not be something that actually is a property of something. That would be an
Because
act that represents a privation of a property that we are not utilizing.
Because humility is assenting to a good, and evil actions are defects within the will, and to will something is to assent to the good. So
what is anger? Why does it exist?
No.
You didn't say that.
That's not what I said. What I said is God cannot be the ultimate evil. Because to be the ultimate evil,
you would have to be the anger, and
you would have to be the maximal being in certain negative attributes that are going to conflict with each other.
Like what?
So imagine so like you're a comic book guy. So imagine that you had the ultimate Red Lantern meshed with the ultimate Orange Lantern. Those two character traits conflict with each other.
Do you
W Lantern reference, bro?
This is a bad example because you know about the White Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Oh my gosh! No way! Oh my gosh! We're Reddit maxing now. We're just absolutely
are coherent logically. I'm saying you have two.
Yo, notice how Andrew didn't even freaking move an inch, bro. He's so not with this, like the way that they're doing this example.
character
No,
traits
Color,
gosh.
that
He didn't
as
even
the
flinch or
maximal
laugh or
being
anything.
in both of these attributes cannot simultaneously exist.
but that's they. It's a bad example because a White Lantern Corps is the merger of all the attributes into one. They all simultaneously coexist.
Guys, our Discord preacher.
What?
Exist.
It's a bad example because a White Lantern Corps is the merger of all the attributes into one. They all simultaneously
No, but
coexist.
you
Guys,
could just say that
our-
that's a contradictory thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
actually exist. It's like a non-being.
Yeah, the lantern rhetoric is bad.
Yeah,
Discord preacher. He wrote down his name is like Malaki 36. His name is
Malaki, bro. Malaki. It's Malachi, bro. Holy moly. No way. This just said
No way you just said
Malaki.
Malaki, bro.
Malaki 3.6, bro. Malaki 3.6.
We're substitute teacher maxing, bro.
Donald's name Malachi 36. For I am the
Malachi?
Malachi. Thank you.
Mhm.
For I am the Lord. I don't read the Bible. For I am the Lord. I do not change. Therefore, you are not consumed. Zero sons of Jacob.
Do not change. That's part of his nature.
And so the question
How's that do with
is,
the right to life that we started out with?
do we know 100?
That is a
do
great
we
question,
know
Ryan.
God so absolutely that we can perceive Him in full?
No,
No.
not it. Not it.
No, but we can know particular traits. So,
Yes,
for example,
correct.
Jesus in John 14 says
I
that
agree
he
with
is the
that.
way, the truth, and the life. So
Agreed.
this is saying that Jesus as God is the ultimate being in a positive attribute, that being truth.
If we can't conceive of God in his entirety, then we can't know everything other than what knowledge was bestowed upon us.
Yeah, but that's a knowledge.
Fair.
But that's a knowledge claim, which presupposes God to begin with, because it's a knowledge claim.
God told us what He is, and through the Bible,
That's part of revelation. Yeah.
and that's a Christian view. I'm not a Christian.
I don't even know his position at this point.
Yeah, I think he's just there to debate people. He's just
Like
there
I
to
swear,
reply.
like he says I'm not a Christian, and then he'll affirm something in the Bible as like a justification for something over and over. I don't
How's
get
it do
it.
with right?
I mean, but
We started off
wait a
with
second.
rights.
Whether you're a Christian or not,
I don't get it.
it would still have to be your view.
Bryce, I got
that
a
God
question.
revealed.
Yeah,
You play any golf, man?
I do.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I gotta DM you, bro. I'm getting this set, bro. I gotta show you.
Yeah.
W-Ankh, bro.
I love
W-Ankh,
golf.
bro.
I love
Yeah,
golf.
golf is great, dude. Oh my
Reveals
god.
himself to you somehow. That would be some form of revelation.
I believe that we have the capability to observe that God exists through math, science, and observation.
Yeah,
of
but
the
why are
universe.
those attributes of God?
Which ones?
That's not exactly what Tim said just now. Tim is basically applying here that basically science, mathematics, all these different types of things are representatives of the fact that God exists. This is actually the way that Aristotle argued for practical sciences, theoretical sciences, and how there's categories of theoretical sciences like physics, mathematics, and divine science, right? And then practical science being things like psychology and whatnot.
Mhm.
So but he uses that as a way to basically argue for the existence of God because of the fact that these things exist in the first place and they're ordered presupposes someone who ordered, right?
Are those attributes
Well,
of
I mean,
God?
I
Math,
would
science.
say the mathematics part is just the logic.
I would say, simply put, outside of doctrine, you can look at the universe.
I mean, logic is utilized by mathematics utilizes logic, but it's not identical to it. So actually, hilariously enough, I was reading about this today. So I'm going to read this real quick here from Sync and Audios.
There's a bunch of different positions on whether or not logic orders math or math is ordered by logic.
Well, I'm going to actually use this as a good example. It's so funny every time I read these people. I like when I'm at work or something or like hanging out. These things always come up where I can actually talk about it the same day when I stream.
The
I
Holy
love it.
Spirit. It's the Holy Spirit.
For real, bro. So right here. So in the OCGS Tome 7, it's the commentary on Aristotle's first three parts of logic. He basically defines this. Physics. So he says that physics is the study of particular objects according to their nature and how they are moved. It's the science, and the actual quote is, physics is the science concerning movable things such as man and animal and the like, not under the disposition by which that they are moved and perceive and act, because they are particulars, and there is no science of them, but there is science of them considered in themselves and absolutely as far as their every inquiry concerning the movable sensible. And then he defines mathematics as the science that treats those beings which, according to their proper nature, are from abstraction or can be abstracted from sensible qualities such as number and magnitude. So it's basic in a basic sense. It's the study of conception of particular objects by quantity and quality, and enumeration of these things that are denoted in physics.
He's distinguishing quantitative knowledge and qualitative knowledge.
Yes, and then metaphysics, or divine science, as Aristotle calls it, is the study of things that are separated from motion and matter according to being, like minds, concepts, and universals. The study of those things itself that are within mathematics and physics are the grounding for the ability to utilize physics and mathematics.
First, and then calculate based on the rules that there is a creator.
Yeah, it's just the watchmaker argument. So you just say, well, if you were a person who had no understanding of technology, but you found a watch on a beach and you picked it up,
That's literally
you
not.
would infer creation just by the way that
That's
the
not
watch
the argument.
operates. It's the same argument.
It is literally not.
Yeah, or you can say
It's identical to that. That's the whole point of the watchmaker argument, and the way that Tim is trying to make the justification for the God of deism is saying shit's ordered, therefore God. Okay, so then if you see a watch, you see that it's ordered, therefore something created the watch. It's literally the exact same argument.
say that mathematically, if you changed even one little teeny tiny thing, the
Not the
entire
argument.
universe would be thrown into disarray. What's the argument?
The argument is that there is negative entropy, and there is entropy, and that entropy only exists in greater elements of entropy. And what we end up finding throughout the
Oh my
universe.
God.
And both of those things presuppose motion. GG's.
Oh jeez. Oh my gosh, dude.
Extropy, bro.
This guy needs to stop. Just stop talking, bro. This man said extropy and entropy.
Universe, again, assuming you trust modern science,
Mm-hmm.
is that energy coalesces and disperses. I would say at a rate similar to the golden ratio. So it's a gradual.
And if you threw
Decay.
that off, it would.
This is like the way that he's describing it is like some Kabbalah shit, bro. Like he's trying to
honestly-
tie like a bunch of things together, right, in a way that basically harmonizes to basically justify the existence of a god.
Throw everything into disarray.
Not what I'm talking about. So when you take a look at the basis components of the universe, in some degree they coalesce. So we can take a look at quarks, atoms, denser atom, hydrogen becoming helium, et cetera, et cetera. You can see that so long as there is more entropy outputted from a system, entropy is possible. This scales up exponentially and mathematically, which is what humans have traced so far, again, if you believe modern science, because there's a lot we don't know. And you find that everything skews towards the creation of higher complex systems, so long as they create more disorder in the creation of complex systems. What that ultimately leads to is, simply put, atoms become elements, become compounds, become molecules, all finding other ways to interact to become increasingly more complicated and organizing free energy in the universe into a complex system.
Yeah, but in the God of deism, though, like you wouldn't be able to actually justify that there's something that's moving any of this.
No, you're just. It's basically an impersonal first cause, but it's like personal, and it just flicked a domino.
Yeah.
This is a fact.
I'm not sure how this isn't like an explanation or descriptor of your of the observation of revelation of God for you.
So what we see is that once you get to the point of self-replicating proteins, molecules come to a point where, and this is a gap for human knowledge, we don't know why at some point molecules will become self-replicating proteins. I don't think it's all that complicated because the question of
Yeah, because abiogenesis is a shit theory. That's why.
It's like if you invoke it in Bayesian probability, there's more likelihood in somebody coming back to life than somebody or life from non-life. I really, honestly, I think that
Yeah.
if we applied that, I think that would be the case. I need to research on that. But
Yeah, the resurrection is
interesting.
more likely under Bayesian probability than abiogenesis.
why elements become compounds is the same thing. We don't care. Oxygen bonds with carbon, to oxygen, carbon dioxide. These things occur, and we can track the science of them. At a certain point, self-replicating proteins emerge if the chemical conditions are correct.
Emergent properties.
Self-replicating proteins eventually become single-cell life. Single-cell life eventually becomes multicellular life. Within those complex systems, multicellular life eventually creates ecosystems. Now they're creating complex systems outside of physical energy and into abstract concepts, which only exist in our thoughts. Eventually, you'll end up with multicellular organisms.
Which thoughts do exist, you think?
To some degree, they do, because I think, therefore, I am.
Yeah, where
And
do they exist, though?
Oh, Descartes reference. Wow. Cogito.
You give this guy time to talk, he'll get increasingly like he has like the VTech it like kicked in, bro. So he just started speaking faster and faster.
It's the interesting question that humans don't really know, because this is the abstract, complex dynamic system created by the highest iteration of life as we know it, which is ourselves, unless there is an imperceivable higher form of life, which all mathematics predicts does exist. And so what we end up seeing with the universe is first you get chemicals that coalesce, you get organisms that reproduce, all of it collecting free energy and organizing into more complicated systems. Eventually you get a squirrel. Squirrel's a random example. But squirrels create more than just themselves by collecting free energy. They eat food, they make babies, that's replication.
What I don't understand.
Squirrels create ecosystems.
I actually don't understand right now, though.
Now squirrels
I understand what
are planting nuts, which create trees.
Yeah.
A new abstract system emerges, a complex system between life that is beyond just a physical component. It is now including a physical component, but it has an abstract element to it, interactions between two.
It's funny that like he goes on this gigantic tangent where he basically tries to give his entire epistemic justification for everything. And then you look at the very beginning of the entire thing where he talks about basically there being the first mover. And like when you get to the point where there's the first mover, you can't justify that first mover without basically being able to know. I mean, it just goes into like tag type stuff, bro. Like you eventually just got to get to the point with people like this where you just have to say like, how do you know what you know? Like it's a little bit ridiculous. Like this type of explanation, because he's just explaining all of the natural things that do occur, therefore presupposes the supernatural.
Just explaining the natural law, bro.
Yeah, explaining natural law doesn't automatically necessitate supernatural unless you have an argument for something that bridges that gap.
That accentuates further into the manipulation of an environment, which a lower life form would probably be a beaver.
Yeah, but how is any of this? What I don't understand, right, is those systems you just described, you've observed.
So beavers,
those you've observed,
start manipulating their environments and creating complex systems outside of life itself, where they're actually building dam systems. But this mathematical observation was just create.
And that's what.
There's literally no way that I skipped that over 8 times and he was still talking.
When I think of God, I bump into the limits of our ability to comprehend higher dimensions, in visualizing higher dimensions in 2-dimensional planes, because we can't even do it in 3-dimensional planes. And then you come to the ultimate point where we would conclude there is a higher power than us that likely created us, created everything we experience, has the ability to create, destroy, and do whatever it wants, even though in our reality...
Do whatever it wants? So it's personal? It has a will?
Ooh. Yeah, this guy... He's an interesting chap.
He just contradicted himself from his original position.
Yeah, all that monologuing just for him to invoke a will.
Yeah, all that monologuing just to basically admit that God is personal. You admit that God is personal and you're a deist at the same time, you are completely cooked.
This is basically like Spinoza if he was on like... Never mind. I'm not...
We cannot create or destroy, and we cannot comprehend the true power and true nature of what that is.
Okay. Could you induct then that thing had to be created?
Nope.
Why not?
What do you mean?
Why wouldn't you induct that thing had to be, like, using inductive reasoning? What would you have to base on from actual observation that anything which created anything else was not itself created?
If we go by the standard laws of thermodynamics, that nothing is created or destroyed, only changed.
Yeah, but
so
even if that's the case, the energy which you're destroying or creating, right? God doesn't need to be created.
What?
He always existed, right?
And we were not created in the sense of we manifested. We were created in the sense that the universe was created by God. The structure, the energy, all of it was created. Whether it's finite or not is a determination of God that we don't know.
Well, do you think this thing has consciousness?
And then we organized. Absolutely.
Okay, so it's doing it on purpose?
Absolutely. So
with a purpose?
Presumably.
Yes. W press.
So consciousness, we are in the universe and we are components of the universe, and what we experience as conscious entities is a component of the universe, which also implies the universe itself with us within it and within its confines and laws experiences consciousness either through us, or there is a very, I believe, obvious observation that if simple consciousness, the neurons firing in our brains, which we think is what's generating consciousness, exists, then obviously there is a calculation of a higher power consciousness beyond ours.
Well, what does it want?
I don't know.
Why did it put you here?
There's a couple ideas that I have on that. One is you can describe it as a sorting algorithm, I suppose.
What?
Why do heaven and hell exist? Well, the
You
Christian
think hell exists too?
absolutely, but I wouldn't
I'm getting like tired, like slothful.
describe it
of
as
everything.
fire and pits of inferno. And I would describe it as if we look at the universe and we look at the choices we
here
are
we
given,
go.
free will, and we take a look at, I would say, trying to learn off Christian or just general religious dogmas, because I do believe that humans and life has a general understanding until it's socialized out of them or they're broken from.
Oh, so his argument is that every religion has a heaven and hell narrative, therefore heaven and hell is definitely true too.
Just by consensus, it's the case. Therefore, it's the case. Well, good
I love it.
argument.
I love it too because then there's because in his view, there's absolutely no way to determine how to go to one place and not the other.
From it, I do
Seriously.
believe people can know God exists, but society today tries to make you erase that from your mind.
Well, this is really strange, though. You think we have free will too?
Yes, absolutely.
You don't think it's
But
predetermined?
there's gradients. Yeah, no, it's not predetermined. There's an element of predetermination in that some things will happen, and then how we function within them is.
Yeah, but you can't know which things are going to happen and which ones aren't because you don't have a revelation. So how can you even make that claim? Like, that's ridiculous.
Is ultimately the function of reality. Now I don't know that obviously, but I would say based on what I've read, what I've seen, what I've experienced, a simple way to describe it is we are here.
What
as
is he
sort of a
reading?
test. We are given choices. We are given free will. We're given opportunity. We are given struggles,
That entire explanation he just gave is probably written on his damn laptop.
and we make choices on how we exist within these things. Do you choose to be evil for self-gain, to burn things down and destroy? If life, all life,
It is. Yeah, it is.
is
Absolutely.
functioning towards the creation of complex systems, that it would seem to defy God's will to be a force of entropy. So when you look at Antifa burning things down, destroying that, I describe that as evil. When you look at Democrats exploiting to steal,
Wait. Nope, that does not work. Because God had to have been the one to put entropy in place because there's no fall in his view. Entropy is something that's due to the fall. And he doesn't have a fall narrative of humanity. So entropy had to have been something that God put in place. And if entropy is contradictory to God's nature, God put something contradictory to his nature in place. GG's.
and make gains for themselves, they are
That's
empowering
based.
a small system at the destruction of a larger system. I would call that evil. If the purpose of a person or of the function of a person is to create more complicated systems, i.e. create life, protect life, and expand upon life, that seems to be God's will, as that is what life does. So there's a sort of yin-yang of the universe. I don't
Oh
believe
my
it's balanced
gosh,
like yin-yang. I
dude.
believe it's more like the golden ratio spiraling towards
so tired of
negative.
people.
I'm sorry, towards entropy.
Okay, so God instilled for entropy to go into place. If you would
It's
say
so dumb.
Because he literally just argued against basically the destruction narrative of like everything being rebuilt in the Christian worldview, because that would, or like the fact that he sees like Antifa destroying buildings as evil because that goes against God, because God is not entropic.
But he's the first mover. He ordered that. In the first
He had
place.
there's no fall, so he had to
Yeah,
have ordered
exactly.
entropy itself. So
I
that's
don't-
so dumb.
I don't get it. Yeah, it's dumb because of the fact that like the conception and knowledge that he's invoking to here, because he thinks that, well, it's not God's will. Well, if God is determinate in the sense that he knows that these acts are going to happen, therefore he acts upon these things, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's just dumb, bro.
Because he also probably, I'm assuming he probably doesn't have like a eschaton view as well. I know that he says he affirms heaven and hell or whatever, but I think that he holds the view that basically people are just going to go on forever until they go extinct. And then entropy is going to continue until eventually we enter like billions of years from now, right? There's going to be some form of, or trillions and trillions and trillions of years from now, that there's going to be like an age of black holes. They're all going to eventually come together. Everything's going to eventually fizzle into nothing. Entropy.
Heat die or something, yeah.
Right, like heat death of the universe, right? Like God had to instill the heat death of the universe, meaning that God, in his view, has to be entropic. Because if he created things according to his nature, which he admitted earlier, then God is a destroyer as well, but he tries to say, no, God, no, we can determine that things are evil because destruction is not according to God's nature. That's so dumb. Such a
Triple
bad position.
predestination.
With life functioning as negative entropy, and thus, simply put, there is a God. We are here for a reason. We are here to protect, to organize, to create, and develop and expand.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, Dr. Shijiwade versus I had versus Jonathan Hill because I did watch that at some point too. Where is that at?
Wait, isn't Dr. Shijiwade a social trinitarian?
Not exactly. A lot of people disagree with him on his way that he defines the Trinity in Orthodox.